A report from consultancy firm Deloitte has identified 82 occupations likely to be disrupted by artificial intelligence. David Rumbens, a partner at Deloitte Access Economics, says AI is shifting the job market, not necessarily through cuts, but role transformations.
What we're seeing with AI is there's a group of what we'd say are more like clerical and administrative functions where AI technology is likely to play a significant role in potentially automating part of those functions. But what we've also seen, more recently is that channel is now transferring also across to some managerial and professional occupations. So, including in tech, accounting, a range of broader managerial roles. And it's not necessarily that these are roles that won't be required with AI, but it looks the case that AI will be able to do part of the role. And so there's a job transformation underway in a lot of those 82 types of occupations.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Based on your evidence and what you just said there, is it right or fair to assume that at this stage, AI is not necessarily leading to these widespread job losses, just rather augmentation, a redeployment of labour?
Well, look, it's a mixed picture. So we will have seen that some companies have announced significant restructures, including in relation to AI, and we've seen that partly in tech. We've seen that more so overseas in the US, and the US and other countries are further ahead on the curve, so it's important to take note of that. But then when we look at these occupations that are most likely to be disrupted, we see that overall employment levels are still growing. So the large company announcements are not necessarily indicative of the broader labour market so far. But then we also know it's still fairly early stages. There's, people are experimenting with AI. What's the use case? Is it just going to be a personal productivity enhancer, or is it going to be more a work redesign? And so there's still a lot more to play out. We can see how much money is going into AI investment. And so the labour market effects are likely to broaden as we go on through this year and the next couple of years.
So what do you think then the impact at this stage, with what we know so far and how AI is impacting the labour force, what is the impact of it on productivity?
Look, so far we're not seeing AI show up in the national productivity statistics. So we had the national accounts data yesterday, which suggested that Australian productivity in the March quarter actually fell again. So we're not seeing it here. We're seeing stronger evidence overseas that we are getting some productivity gains from those sectors that are more prevalent in using AI. And it does make sense from the amount of investment that's going in that there would be a productivity payoff. So it's more a timing thing. That's not enormous evidence of it yet, but likely to be more so as we go on over the next couple of years.
Let's look at the flip side, David. We've spoken about those occupations that are at most risk: white-collar, knowledge-intensive industries, tech, financial, insurance, accounting, etc. But when we look at the other side of the equation, which are the occupations that are expected to grow with AI?
Yeah, so we've also identified a group of AI-enhanced occupations where AI is likely to play a role in the delivery of the tasks within that occupation, but it may well lead to stronger demand for people in there. So leadership roles, executives, managing directors, roles within education, roles within health, psychologists, roles that have a very large human element where AI can support the delivery and the functioning of the role, but the human element is still very, very central, and so we could see a stronger rate of employment growth. That's not to say in the other set that we will necessarily see declining employment, but it could be that, yes, there is a change in the labour mix, and that there could be in some companies at least a reduced labour need.
With what you found in this report, how would you suggest that organisations can better integrate AI into their business practices?
Look, it's really a combination of the AI tools and human skills. So it is augmentation and using AI to enhance productivity, but also to work with the human skills that are embedded in many roles of interpersonal skills, empathy, leadership, collaboration. Those skills become even more important and can be enhanced by AI. It's important for organisations to be deliberate about their AI strategies. So, to what extent can AI work with the existing technical and human skills requirements within the organisation? So being deliberate, understanding that it is going to be a combination of technology and human skills is the smartest way forward.
Just finally, David, if you, based on this report, if you were to give advice to a young person just starting out in the workplace or indeed going to university to study, what would you say the top 3 jobs to avoid and the top 3 jobs to get into?
Look, it's, job advice is really very much for the individual as to what they're good at, what they're really interested in. I would say that AI skills are going to be more prevalent in some occupations than others, but there'll be very few where their AI skills are not part of the workforce going forward. So whatever you're looking at, it's important to understand how AI can support the kind of technical and base functions of the occupations, not to replace the actual learning through study, but to complement that. And I think that's really what employers are looking for new job entrants, people to come in with some AI savviness, have the ability to use that technology, but also have the judgment and the underlying understanding of the skill requirements of the role.